Jon Favreau addresses why The Mandalorian and Grogu is the first new Star Wars movie in 7 years. After releasing a new film every year from 2015 to 2019, the franchise largely shifted to focusing on streaming series for Disney+. During this 7-year period, many in-development films were announced, including 3 movies at Star Wars Celebration 2023. However, it was The Mandalorian and Grogu, which wasn't announced until January 2024, that would end up being the franchise's official return to the big screen. In an interview with Games Radar Plus, Favreau, who is The Mandalorian and Grogu's director and co-writer, admits that he doesn't know the exact reason why this was chosen to be the first new Star Wars movie in years, but that he suspects it has to do with the 2 titular characters being so ubiquitous and accessible. He acknowledges how even those who don't follow the franchise are aware of Grogu, and as with The Mandalorian Season 1, the movie is designed for both longtime fans and new viewers. Check out Favreau's comments below. I'm not sure why we were asked to do this. I suspect it was because these are characters that people, even who hadn't seen Star Wars, may be aware of, especially Grogu. Baby Yoda was everywhere. And these are 2 characters that were used to launch Disney+, and we made no assumptions when The Mandalorian TV show came on that anybody had seen any Star Wars before. But we also wanted to make it feel authentic to Star Wars, and so the world that we created as the backdrop and the way the characters present themselves were embraced by Star Wars fans, which I really appreciate. But it also was an inroad for people who may not have ever watched Star Wars on television, and here we are now, 7 years after the last film. I think there's an opportunity to present Star Wars to a new audience using these characters as well. Favreau is the creator and showrunner of The Mandalorian, which helped launch Disney+ in November 2019. As he alludes to, Season 1 in particular became a pop culture phenomenon that extended far beyond the normal reaches of the Star Wars fandom. The universal father-son story between Din Djarin and Grogu could be understood and appreciated regardless of how familiar someone was with the franchise's history. The Mandalorian Season 1's success set the foundation for Disney+ and paved the way for more live-action Star Wars shows, including the critically acclaimed and award-winning Andor. However, in Season 3 especially, the series began to become more entrenched in Mandalorian lore and other aspects of canon, which led to the overall reception generally becoming less favorable. The Mandalorian and Grogu story appears to be going back to some of the roots that made Season 1 such a hit, with an emphasis on the 2 main characters' relationship and their story being accessible for everyone. Given how well-established and popular Din and Grogu are, Favreau is likely also correct about this being seen as a safer box office bet than some of the other Star Wars movies that have been in the works in recent years. These other titles have included Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron, Steven Soderbergh's The Hunt for Ben Solo, a trilogy from The Last Jedi's Rian Johnson, a separate trilogy from Game of Thrones' D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, and a film by Taika Waititi. At Star Wars Celebration 2023, the 3 movies announced were James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's New Jedi Order centered on Rey, and a Dave Filoni movie serving as a culmination of The Mandalorian and other shows dealing with the threat of the Imperial Remnant and Grand Admiral Thrawn, Lars Mikkelsen. Some of these projects have been scrapped entirely while others remain in development. The Mandalorian and Grogu has become a reality before any of them and will be followed in 2027 by Starfighter, a movie directed by Sean Levy and starring Ryan Gosling that has completed filming. Along with Din, Pedro Pascal, Brendan Wayne, and Lateef Crowder, and Grogu, The Mandalorian and Grogu features Colonel Ward, Sigourney Weaver, Garazeb Zeb Aurelios, Steve Blum, Rada the Hutt, Jeremy Allen White, and numerous Anzellans, who are the same species as the Rise of Skywalker's fan-favorite character Babu Frick. Favreau co-wrote the script with Filoni and Noah Clower.